Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. Today we're going to be talking about, again, parenting and the etiquette of entering on one's parents. We are going to be talking about it from a religious point of view, and we're going to read a surah or two from the Quran, an ayah or two from the Quran, and then we're going to revert to psychology. It's a very important issue, so I would like for everybody to pay attention to everything we're going to say today. Let's go ahead and read the surah and then we'll discuss it. It is Surah Al-Nur, ayah number 58. O you who have believed, let those whom your right hand possess and those who have not yet reached puberty among you ask for permission of you at 3 times before dawn prayer, and when you put aside your clothing, and at noontime, and after night prayer. These are 3 times of privacy for you. There is no blame upon you or upon them beyond these periods, for they are continually circulate among you, some of you among each other. Thus does Allah make clear to you the verses, and Allah knowing and wise. This is verse number 58. We are going to go to verse number 59. And when the children among you reach puberty, let them ask permission at all times, as those before them have done. Thus does Allah make clear to you His verses, and Allah knowing and wise. That tells us the importance of making boundaries at home. So let's say about child rearing. A lot of psychological issues happens because we don't have any boundaries, or a lot of parents do not have any boundaries at home, or have vague boundaries at home. Having these type of boundaries prevents a lot of psychological damages to the children. It prevents a lot of over-sexualized child or children. Over-sexualized is actually, it could be done by mistake very easily. And we're going to discuss that just before the end of this episode. Let's see. What happens if we don't have boundaries at home? Usually it becomes very difficult to the parents. It becomes very difficult to the mother especially, because she's the one closest to the children at a younger age. That's from one point of view. The children do not listen to their parents because they think they can get away with anything. They think that they are children with them. They're playing together, they are doing things together, and they're not paying attention to what they're doing. This is one aspect. The other aspect is lack of sense of developing privacy. We need to teach our children the sense of privacy. How do we do that? Simply by telling them that they have to close their door on themselves. If they go to the bathroom or something, they have to close the door. If they come into my room or the parents' room or anybody, they have to knock on the door just to make sure that the parents are decent. There are parents that are not aware of the boundary setting, and as a result, we have what we call over-sexualized children. It's a very dangerous, it's not only dangerous, it could ruin somebody's life, a child's life. Over-sexualization, we finally reach, they're going to put it in the category of sexual abuse. But it's not there yet, because a lot of parents would tell you, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't touch him. I didn't do this and I didn't do that. I just walked in my underwear. So everybody walks in the underwear in their houses. Well, that's not allowed. And as we see from the Quran verses, it is not allowed at an early age. Why? Because it is actually, when you have somebody is exposed to this type of behavior, I'm talking about children, what you end up with is preoccupation with sexual activities at a younger age. And that's why we teach against that in psychology. You have to be modest. You have to cover yourself, whether you are a father or you are a mother. And that's because of the children's safety. And that's because of the children's emotional safety. So let's see, what do we learn from this? We learn the first thing is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is good for the parents. It makes their life a whole lot easier because kids are going to know their limits. Children are going to know their limits. And parents are also going to have some time for themselves. They will know that this is my room and the children have some kind of respect. And that's what we're aiming for, respect. When we're talking about the sense of privacy and sense of boundaries for the children, you have the privacy is very important. For instance, I used to see children at the age of 9 and 10, and they will just tell me, well, my parents, they trample all over me when I ask them how. They say, well, my parents will come into the room, it's always open, I'm not allowed to close my room on myself. I have a brother and she's a female and she has a brother, or he is a male and he has a sister. They need to separate that. There is an age usually that we talk about, and that's by the age of 7, maximum by the age of 8. You have to separate between the boys and the girls, and that's for their own emotional safety. When you instill the sense of privacy in the children, what ends up happening is that they end up having a sense of self-respect and dignity. And that's very important, self-respect and dignity for the kids. And as they are coming up and growing up, that sense of self-respect and dignity, it grows with them. And that's what we need to do. We need to instill that in our kids at a younger age. I thought it was very interesting to actually bring that verse because a lot of parents are lacking this information. A lot of parents run around themselves. They don't know what to do, and that's because of the lack of boundaries. So if you really want to make your life a whole lot easier and your aim is to have your children listen to you, that's what you need to do. You need to teach them that there is respect, there is, before you enter, you have to knock on the door, and before you, if you have to take your clothes off or anything, it has to be in your private room, or you have to close the door on yourself, and you have to allow your parents the same sense of privacy. Again, I think it's an issue that it needs to be discussed. And thank God we discussed it today, and hopefully we'll have maybe episodes regarding parenting again. I'll leave you with these thoughts, and I will see you in our next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.